What's good, R&B Squad? This is Heart of Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you're new here, welcome. We don't believe that you're here by accident. We're happy to have you, and Jesus is even happier. This word is going to be for persons who already know who their kingdom spouse is, and it's going to be a little bit long, so bear with me and BBJ. Get yourselves some snacks, some water, some juice, some coffee, whatever you need to get to tide you over while you listen, okay? In addition to that, because it is long, you guys may hear some noises in the background now and again. If it gets to be too much, turn on the closed captioning so that you guys can still hear the word, okay? This is a very important right now word for those of you whom it is for. So I had a dream, and in the dream, and by the way guys, I was shown a man in the dream, but again, get in where you fit in. This can be, you can flip it, okay? So it can be for a woman as well. So it can be coming from a man to a woman or from a woman to a man. So in this dream that I had, this guy was telling his kingdom spouse that he had been having dreams about and thinking about them hanging out at her favorite spot, okay? And in the dream, he looked so goofy and happy while he was saying it because they were finally together in person, and he was telling her about how long he's been dreaming of that moment, all right? And then I woke up from the dream. And the Lord took me to Song of Solomon chapter 6, but he did something a little bit different. He took me to a commentary of Song of Solomon chapter 6, and this is by Charles Spurgeon, I believe. I'm going to put the link in the description to this commentary so that you guys can read it for yourselves, but I'm going to read a bit of it, okay? So this again is called Reunited in Love by Charles Spurgeon, and it is a commentary on Song of Solomon chapter 6. The maiden describes a restoration of their love relationship. A further question from the daughters of Jerusalem. Where has your beloved gone, O fairest among women? Where has your beloved turned aside that we may seek him? Where has your beloved gone, O fairest among women? Continuing the thought from the previous chapter, it is difficult to tell if these onlooking friends are supporting the maiden or being sarcastic towards her. Where has your beloved turned aside that we may seek him with you? What this means is that more importantly than the tone of the question in the previous line is the second question that was asked. After hearing the impressive description of the character and the appearance of the beloved, the daughters of Jerusalem wanted to know where the beloved was and if they could help her locate him, because why let such a man get away, all right? The maiden describes her relationship to her beloved man. My beloved has gone to his garden, to the beds of spices, to feed his flock in the gardens, and to gather lilies. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He feeds his flock among the lilies. My beloved has gone to his garden, to the beds of spices. Previously in the Song of Solomon chapter 4, verse 12, 4 verse 16, and 5 verse 1, the image of the garden was used to represent the sexuality of the maiden. Yet here that image seems out of place. If the beloved has gone to his garden, then why did it seem that the maiden was still searching for him? It seems best to regard this as a simple reference to a literal garden. The maiden remembered that her beloved would be in a familiar outdoor place to feed his flock in the gardens. And that is very important. I'm going to come back to that a little bit later in this word, okay? Interestingly, the maiden's previous search through the city accomplished nothing and in fact only harmed her. Yet when she, in response to the questions from the daughters of Jerusalem, thought about how wonderful her beloved was and where he might be, she was able to figure it out. The bride's response to the friend's inquiry assures that she has not really lost him. The anxiety in her dream was without foundation in reality. Her initial reaction to their relationship problems was entirely feeling-based, with little or no thought behind the reaction. When she began to think through the fundamentals of her relationship, who is my beloved? Where can I find him? Things began to make sense. This reminds us that for success in a Christian marriage, we must think and understand. The world relies upon mistaken ideas of romantic love and feelings to make marriage work, and never really makes a person think and understand about marriage. To feed his flock in the gardens and to gather lilies. When the maiden thought about where her beloved would be, she remembered that he would be doing his work to feed his flock and looking for ways to show love to her, to gather lilies. We can say that the maiden understood some basic things that contributed to the restoration of the relationship. She knew where he had gone, to his favorite garden, literally. She knew that though they were separated, they still belonged to each other. Glory to God. Let me read that again for the people in the back. She knew that though they were separated, they still belonged to each other. She knew her husband was like a gentle shepherd who would want to restore the relationship. I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. The remembrance of these things, who her beloved is, where she is, and where he is, and what he would be doing, filled the maiden with a renewed sense of their connection and oneness with each other. This is where she wanted to be. This is opposite to the attitude of self-indulgence and laziness shown in the first part of Song of Solomon chapter 5. She is back where she wanted to be, but she did not get there by focusing on her own feelings, rather by thinking and understanding. Now feelings came into the picture, and in a wonderful way. I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine is also an important description of the idea of oneness. The maiden sensed and valued their spiritual, emotional, physical, and life connection. Glory to God. From the Apostle Paul's strong and repeated exhortation of the principle of oneness to husbands, and from life experience, one might reasonably understand that women tend to sense and value oneness in marriage by instinct. Men have to learn to sense it and value it. The ability of a couple to succeed in their marriage is equal to the ability of that couple to forgive and accept forgiveness, Jesus. When this willingness on the part of both becomes a habit, then the bubble of romance that began their relationship will become a diamond that will last forever. In Song of Solomon chapter 2:16, the maiden said, "My beloved is mine and I am his." Here she says, "I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine." Some people note that in the first, the emphasis is on what belongs to her. In the second, the emphasis is on whom she belongs to. Perhaps she found it was more wonderful to have her belong to him than for her to have him. Enjoyment of the restored relationship. The beloved describes the physical appearance of his maiden. So in this part of Song of Solomon chapter 6, they're reunited, okay? Oh, my love, you are as beautiful as Tirzah, lovely as Jerusalem, awesome as an army with banners. Turn your eyes away from me, for they have overcome me. Your hair is like a flock of goats going down from Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of sheep, which have come up from the washing. Everyone bears twins, and none is barren among them. Okay? These are the words of the beloved to the maiden. They are together again, and the warmth of their restored relationship is evident in this section. The beloved compared the beauty and stature of the maiden to noble and beautiful cities. She was as impressive as an army with banners, ready for battle. There is not a hint of bitterness or unforgiveness on the part of the beloved. There had been a disruption of their relationship, as shown in Song of Solomon chapter 5, verses 2-8. That was largely her fault. Yet the offended party in this relationship was quick to forgive and restore relationship. So, let's get into what all of this means, okay? For somebody, you and your person, you may have come back together for a little while, and then you were separated again. And the way the Lord showed it to me, it appears as though whatever this person said to you or whatever this person did to you, it may have been something that upset you. But the emphasis here is on the fact that it was misinterpreted. You took it the wrong way, okay, for whoever this is for. And when the Lord was explaining this to me, when he was breaking it down for me to understand what he was saying, I ended up laughing because this is so typical of human beings. This is human nature. We tend to be in our feelings about things. We tend to go by what we think it looks like or what we think it sounds like, and then we run away with it. And sometimes those assumptions and those conclusions that we come to are based on very little factual evidence. That's exactly what happened in Song of Solomon chapter 5, okay? The maiden assumed that her beloved was angry with her. Now, in the first place, the man showed up to see her. She gave him an attitude when he showed up to see her. She didn't want to open the door. And obviously, anyone that gives you an attitude when you come to see them, you're going to think that they don't want you around. So he left, okay? So she was leaning to her own understanding and he was leaning to his own understanding instead of them communicating and figuring out what the issue was, okay? She didn't want to be bothered because she was already in bed, and he thought that since she didn't want to be bothered, that meant she didn't want to see him for a while. So he left, okay? And then she goes into this downward spiral where she's searching for him. She's thinking, oh my gosh, he's gone. I've lost him again. When in reality, it was really just a temporary separation, a very short separation. It was not permanent, okay? Some of you, that's exactly what you're going through right now. There may have been a misunderstanding and it left things a bit unresolved between the two of you. The last time you saw this person or spoke to this person, there was a misunderstanding and it was unresolved. So it left you with questions and it left them with questions. And then, depending on whatever it is they had to do, they had to go. And they may not have been back since. And because of that, you think that they're angry with you. You think they're thinking that you're angry with them, when in reality, they bear no ill will toward you whatsoever. And the enemy is just going to come in and try to make it look even worse, because that is what he does. Okay? It's human nature for us to lean to our own understanding, but that is where God comes in. As Christians, we're supposed to be allowing the Lord to lead us. The first thing we're supposed to do when we don't understand what is happening with someone we love is talk to the Lord. Lord, help me understand where this person is coming from. Help me understand what is going on in his or her mind. The next thing we have to do is try to communicate. Okay? The third thing that we have to do, and probably the most important thing, is to wait. Just like Naomi said to Ruth, my daughter, wait until you see how the matter turns out. Too often, we call something before we see how it turns out. We say, well, okay, it looks like this, and it looks like so and so. So I'm just going to react in this manner. I'm just going to think this, or I'm just going to do that. Sometimes we just need to wait and see. We just need to wait and see how something plays out. Okay? And in this instance, in Song of Solomon chapter 6, this is exactly what the maiden did. Okay? She went and got into her feelings, and she assumed at first that this man, he was staying away from her, or they weren't seeing each other because he was angry. When in reality, he was not angry with her at all, okay? He was just tending to his flock. And it was only when her girlfriends asked her where he was that she really thought about it logically and realized that, wait a minute, if he's away, then he's attending to his duties. And while he's doing that, more than likely, he's also thinking about me. She mentioned that he was gathering lilies. Those were her favorite flower, okay? So she knew enough about this man's character to know that his mind would be on her even when they were apart, and that if he's staying away, it's because he's attending to his duties, not because he wants to, all right? That's exactly what the guy in the dream said, okay? He said that all this time that he was away from this woman, he was thinking about them hanging out at her favorite spot, Just like in Song of Solomon chapter 6, where she said her beloved is gathering lilies, her favorite flower. Okay? Y'all, the way the Lord ties things in, Jesus. God is so good. Listen to me. For whoever this is for, this may be the exact scenario that happened between you and your person. You may have had a misunderstanding. The last time you saw them, they left with questions. You left with questions. It was unresolved, and they have not returned since. And here is the reason why they haven't returned since. They are simply tending to their duty. Okay? This person might be a very busy person. They may have a lot of responsibilities. There may be a familial responsibility that they have to take care of with their family, or it might be their job that is keeping them away. There might be something that they have to do for their job, okay, or for work, or for their business in some way. But whatever it is keeping them away from getting to you. But trust and believe. The Lord said that this person wants to run to you. That's how they feel. They wish they can just drop everything right now and run to you. And they are longing to have some privacy with you. Maybe this is a person who is always surrounded by other people. They just want a moment where they can just be alone with you. They're longing for that. They're dreaming about that. Okay? And then there was a scripture that the Lord gave to me. Let me just find it here. Okay. Psalm 37 verses 23 to 24. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I had to laugh again when the Lord was saying this to me. For whoever this is for, the Lord said to tell you, do not cut off a good man or a good woman. If you're a man, he's telling you, don't cut off a good woman. If you're a woman, he's telling you, don't cut off a good man. The Lord put emphasis. Whoever this person is, this person really has to be a good person, because the Lord put so much emphasis on the fact that this is a good person, and that if you stay in your feelings and assume that this person's absence means that they don't care or that they're angry at you, if you keep misinterpreting this person's actions, you're going to be cutting off a good person. Someone that the Lord really has in mind for you. And another thing that the Lord said, he said that this person is promised to you. He has sworn an oath, okay, that this person is yours and you are theirs. So you don't need to worry about this thing coming together. It will. And as I said earlier, the enemy loves misunderstandings. He loves when people jump to conclusions, because that gives him the perfect opportunity to come in there and wreak havoc. So whoever you are, whoever this is for, get out of your feelings, okay? This person loves you. They're thinking about you. They're coming to you. This separation is only temporary. Okay? And you will be reunited with them soon enough. I hope that this message blessed someone. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me. Take care.